What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Justin Ford podcast, where I'll be releasing life-changing principles and valuable information focused on all things faith, finance, family, fitness, real estate, and so much more. Let's go! What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Justin Ford Unleashed podcast. Super excited to be with you here again today. Hopefully, you've been doing great since the last episode. Guys, if you're loving the show, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. And if you're really loving the show, go ahead and leave me a 5-star review. If you haven't followed me yet on social media, you can at the official Justin Ford. Again, at the official Justin Ford. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, and here on YouTube. And you can feel free to share this episode with your friends. Got an absolutely incredible episode in store for you today. But before we get into that, I want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at Next Door Lending. Next Door Lending is a team of professionals that believe everyone should be treated as if they lived next door. The founders and team members have more than 150 years of combined experience helping clients all over the country choose the best loan program to help you accomplish your goals. Next Door Lending is currently licensed in over 23 states and has a team of over 100 loan officers specializing in helping you get the best rate and terms. Whether you're looking to refinance your home or you're looking to purchase your next home, call my friends over at Next Door Lending today at 888-885-3667 or visit their website at nextdoorlending.com. I've got an awesome guest and friend and partner here in the studio today. Welcome to the studio, Miss Doris Hage. How you doing?
I'm here.
Got a lot to talk about today.
Yes,
got a lot of history.
Yes.
How's your morning going?
It's good. I mean, 696.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know these freeways. Every freeway right now in Metro Detroit has construction. Every single one.
Like usually I'll drive over there, but I'm like full force, like staring there. I'm like, don't hit a pothole, don't hit this, don't hit that, don't hit that. Get to Brighton.
Yeah. And what's crazy is I actually was in Grand Rapids recently, and I was driving up to Grand Rapids, and all of a sudden my tire light came on. And I'm like, that's weird because I didn't hit anything. So by the time I got to Grand Rapids and somebody came in, they're like, dude, your tire is completely flat. I'm like, what? So I came out, I went to the local Bell Tire, and they're like, yeah, you have a crack in your rim. So it was like this little hairline crack, but it was causing the air to go out. And it's like, at some point I must have hit a pothole. And then you think of like Florida. There's no potholes in Florida.
Right.
Why do we have potholes?
But listen, now I have to bring up the tire story.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. So you saw me even with another tire story.
Yeah.
Where my tire was flat.
And Justin tried to go to his trunk and he's like, I'm going to fix this. And I'm like, no, this is not the young Justin anymore.
No.
Not saying
No,
older,
no.
But
Hey, listen.
I was like, go right around the corner and fix that tire. But you literally were about to fix that tire on your own.
I was about to fix that tire on my own.
You got the jack out.
So yeah, that's
we had
so
a
funny.
meeting because we had that meeting.
We had
too.
a meeting. So this is another tire story, right? And so, but it's interesting because I was talking to somebody about that, and it's like our roads are jacked up because of salt and because during the winter we have all those big trucks, and it's like they're like, shoveling the snow and they're tearing up the concrete.
Yeah.
And so we literally have potholes here the size of pools.
Yeah, it's
like you could literally dive in there and get lost.
And then you try so one of my biggest pet peeves is traffic.
Right.
It's my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah.
And I went to South Africa, right?
Yep.
And you see they have no lights and that, and they're flowing.
Flying,
I didn't
right?
even see one accident. And here I get so frustrated. That's my frustration because I'm such a go with the flow person.
Yeah.
It's like I'll scream, zipper, just zip. Take your time.
Get through
move
there.
in there. But then we have construction too. Right. And it's like probably we could go anywhere and drive anywhere and really appreciate that from being in Michigan.
Well, one of my pet peeves when it comes to driving is somebody that doesn't use their blinker.
Oh, yeah.
Do you use your blinker, Doris?
I do. I'm a blinker person. Because I got to make everyone aware of what I'm doing.
Yeah, because it's like some people, especially when you're like driving behind someone and they start slowing down. You have no idea what they're doing, and they just turn into somewhere. I'm like, dude,
come on.
It's literally just flip that thing up. Or when somebody's flying around you and they just want to get in front of you and not use their blinker. Even if I'm flying, I'm still using my blinker.
Just compassion for one another.
Let's
Let's be kind to each other on the road.
Common courtesy.
Thanks for my TED Talk.
That's it.
That's it. That's what we came here to do.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode, guys, about the roads. Yeah. No, but I'm excited to have you in today. You know, we go way back.
We do.
How old were we in ninth grade? 14?
14.
26 years.
26.
26 years.
See, I keep saying 20, but it's 26.
26. Because 20 years ago, we were 20.
Yeah.
Oh, are you 40 yet?
Wait. Oh, crap. It's coming soon.
It's coming soon.
Probably by the time you hear this, I'll be 40.
Wow. So that's awesome. So yeah, it's crazy to think because when you say 20 years ago,
yeah,
we were actually already out of school.
We were.
You were in college.
Yeah, because we were supposed to have our 20-year class reunion.
Yep.
Which
it never happened.
Because it was put on me.
Yeah, and you're like, I can't do everything. Right?
We can't find Emmett Gupta.
Right, where is he?
We don't know where he is.
Where's Emmett? It's like, where's Waldo, but where's Emmett?
Yeah, if somebody can find Emmett Gupta, please, if you're watching this, let us know.
And he can come help us do our 20-year reunion, even after it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we went to high school together.
Yes.
Yep. We went to homecoming together.
Yes.
Ninth grade homecoming.
Yep.
We have a whole story on that and a picture.
We have a picture. You have to see this picture.
Oh my goodness. But we're working together today on a pretty awesome project.
Huge project. It's been 10 years in the making.
Which is crazy because when I went back to like research and look for things from when we started, it was 10 years ago.
It was 10 years ago.
Which is crazy because it doesn't seem like 10 years ago.
It's not. And, you know, everything does happen for a reason. You meet people for a reason.
Yep.
I remember you in ninth grade, and you'll see the picture of Justin, this tall.
Little short guy wearing my dad's suit, drowning in it, looking like a clown.
But I still remember, I was just talking to someone about this. I remember you like in the hallways.
Really?
And you would just always come around me.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is this guy? And you're like, hey, Doris. And you still have that same face.
But I don't think I called you Doris then.
No, you called me Hiam, didn't you?
Because that's your legal name.
Yeah.
And I called you Hiam for the longest time, and everybody else called you Doris.
Yeah.
Until I started calling you Doris when we started working together.
Yeah. And the reason, so anyone that has known me prior to like ninth grade calls me Hiam. My family calls me Hiam.
Yep.
And what happened is when I got to Taylor Truman, I would say, my name is Hiam. And they'd be like, Hiam? I'm like, Hiam. They're like, Liam? I'm like, Hiam.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Doris. It's just Doris.
Yeah.
And
is that your middle name?
No, Hiam is my middle name.
So is Doris your first name?
Yeah.
I did not know that. I thought it was the other way around.
No, Doris is my first name, and Hiam is my middle name.
So why did people call you Hiam?
It was just the Arabic name.
Yeah.
It was my Arabic. So, you know, my dad's from Lebanon. My mom's from Mexico.
Yep.
And so it was just, one of my aunts, you met my aunt, Siham.
Yep.
So my other aunt, her name's Hiam. So I was named after her.
So Hiam, Siam, and your middle name's Hiam.
Yep.
So they called you, like, how did you guys, I'm surprised they wouldn't call you Doris in the family setting because if there's another Hiam and Siam, like, wasn't that confusing?
No. So in the Arab, some part, I guess it's not all in the Arab culture, but in my family, a lot of our first names from starting kind of my like my brother and me, we had an American first name, and an Arab middle name.
Okay.
And so even my last name was El Haj. But when they came here to America, like my dad would say, your last name's Hage, Hage.
Hage, yeah.
And to a little bit Americanize it.
Well, a lot of people, like even my Finland Finnish, so my mom's side of the family, they changed their name. So a lot of families that came from other parts of the world to the United States made their name more Americanized or English to have it make sense. Many of them.
Yeah, just it's you don't know the stories of coming over here, right? And to make it adapt a little bit more and easier.
Yeah.
You know, because my family didn't move to Dearborn, where most of them are. I grew up in Taylor.
Yep. Which is where we met.
And that's where it was. I was supposed to be in Taylor, Michigan.
Yeah. So tell me these 9th grade hall stories, because I don't really remember.
I do. I just remember Justin is always like you, just like a darting. You were always like darting around too.
Moving pretty fast.
And sometimes you'd be like, hey, Yum. And I would just always remember. And then I think you asked me a few times before I said yes to homecoming.
And you said no multiple times.
I did say no multiple times. Because we were in
I'm trying to think what class we were in. Because Cindy Boyke was in that same class. I think it was either a math class or an English class.
You're right, in that main hallway.
Yep.
In that main hallway we were in, too.
Yeah, we shared a class together.
Yeah. Cindy says hi, by the way. Oh. I'm still in touch with Cindy Boyke.
Tell Cindy I said hi.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
She's in Texas now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been there for a while, I heard,
yeah,
right?
She's been there for a while.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So we go to homecoming.
Yeah.
What made you say yes?
Like, I think you just were persistent.
All right, Justin, okay, I'll go with you. Stop asking
I was like, stop asking. And I think it was in now. Okay, so when you say you want to go, look back at why some things happen.
Yep.
I get it now. Why
it makes sense now, right? Because everything happens for a reason, right?
It had to happen to have this purposeful life that we're going through.
Right.
This whatever contract that we decided to do on Earth right now.
Right. Yeah.
We had to.
It started there.
We had to do it.
It's crazy because it was all planned out. God had a plan all the way, even back from 9th grade to today.
But you didn't have to leave me at Applebee's.
So let's talk about that. It wasn't like so we went to the dance, right? You looked amazing, by the way. I look like a clown. You guys will see that in the picture. So she shows up looking like a rock star, and I show up looking like a clown.
I borrowed that dress.
Did you really?
Because I couldn't afford a dress.
And I borrowed my dad's suit because that was the first time I ever put a suit on.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was a clown. So.
But how did you pick that suit? Can we just?
I just went in my dad's closet and said, Dad, I need to use your suit. And he had one suit.
Oh my gosh.
And that was it.
You grabbed that suit.
Grabbed the suit, yep.
But hey, you made it happen
no
matter what.
I had no clue what I was doing, but I made it happen. Look, you'll see the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to the dance.
Yeah.
Okay. And then did we have a limo?
We did have a limo.
And who was with us? Wasn't it?
Justin Freeman.
Okay.
I don't remember her name.
Was Cindy there too?
Cindy
or no?
was there.
Yeah.
She was with, I think, Tom Shellman.
Okay. And was there?
I think I have a picture. Let's see if I can find the picture of our group. It was
the limo, right?
There was like 8 of us.
Yeah.
That went.
And so we go to Applebee's, and then what happened?
You left. That's all I remember.
And I left, and I think
where'd you go?
I think I went to Taco Bell because I worked at Taco Bell, and I'm like, I want to go up to Taco Bell and see what everybody's doing. But do you remember why I said I left or where I was going?
I don't remember.
Did I just get up and leave? Did I say goodbye?
I don't remember. I think, for all that persistent time for you to just head to Taco Bell.
I don't know why I left though. Honestly,
I don't.
I was out of there.
I don't think I've ever asked you. Why did you?
I don't even remember. That was a long time ago.
That was
26 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I left and I was like, I don't know. I wanted to go to Taco Bell or I don't, maybe I wasn't, because where were we going to? We were going to Applebee's, but maybe I didn't want to go to Apple. I don't remember. I was just young and so immature. So anyways, we stay friends, through high school. And then I remember running into each other because you and I both kind of had a dark time.
Yes.
I remember seeing you at the club.
Yeah.
You guys were partying. I was partying. And
I remember that. It was Ignition.
Yep, Sunday night.
Yep.
Yep.
I went with Amy and Liz and that.
Yep.
Going over there.
And we were partying and using drugs and acting crazy.
But I didn't use drugs.
You didn't?
No. I was, that's
the one thing you didn't do.
I didn't do.
I know everybody else was, though.
Everybody else was. I was the caretaker for a long time. So you were taking
care of everybody.
Every time I was like,
because there always needed to be some type of person who was taking care of everybody.
There's always a one in the group, right? And I was that one. I was that one.
That's awesome.
Taking care of them.
So we kind of stayed in touch. I remember working downtown, and you were working for the internet or phone company.
CBN, yeah.
Yep. Came down to try to sell me service.
Yes, and that was your office in
downtown.
Yep,
downtown
in Detroit.
Yep. So we stayed in touch through that, and then we had the 10-year reunion.
Yeah.
Which I did come to that.
You came to that. But I remember going to your office and saying, I remember looking at you and being like, whoa, this is I know you have your transition now of where you're at, but at that time, I mean, I met Tiara for the first time.
Oh yeah, I used to bring her to work,
and she was adorable. Like she was so like bubbly, and I told you I was like, she's gonna be a CEO.
Yeah,
and I remember looking at you, Justin, and being like, dude, you did it. Like you really did it. Like even if you didn't do all this at that moment, it was like you created this.
And because you saw a totally different Justin, because you saw the 9th grade Justin, then you saw the out of control partying Justin, and then the changed Justin.
And even there, like again, if you would have been right there stuck, not saying stuck in that office, but stayed there, I would have been like, whoa, you made so much change. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
Of that much of a transition.
Right. Yeah. And that was like 10 years ago, 13 years ago, actually, because Tiara was 3, she's 16 now.
Wow.
So then we stayed in touch through that a little bit. And I think that's when kind of like social media brought everybody back together.
Yeah.
Because before Facebook and MySpace, there was really unless you had your group of people you hung out with, you didn't really stay in touch with people.
No.
You didn't know what was going on in people's lives, but
no, unless you went on AOL then.
Right.
And what's the
chat
thing?
The chat,
chat thing.
And so, but we kind of stayed in touch, right? Our paths kept crossing for a reason.
Yeah.
And then I remember, and I'll just kind of tell the backstory here. So I've been speaking in schools since I was 19. And I would go in and I would speak and do like an assembly or like a 1-hour session. And came up with this like Champions Challenge, right?
Yeah.
Where I would go in and, I would give kids a certificate at the end, and I was working in a lot of the Detroit schools, which were very, very rough, right? Hearing the stories of these kids and what they've gone through and the challenges that they have. Like when you don't live in the inner city, you hear of things in the inner city, but you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I would hear these kids talk about how they watch one of their parents get killed, or their parents aren't involved, or, they live in just horrible conditions, or just stuff that just makes your heart really grieve.
Yeah.
And what I would do is I'd go in and I'd share my story. And, and unfortunately, a lot of the schools in Detroit, these kids are failing. And what's crazy is, as long as kids show up, they move to the next grade. It's not like, oh, you failed, you're being held back. Nobody gets held back. In Detroit schools, they move on if they just show up. They can fail their entire 4 years and graduate if they just keep going. And I saw that and I'm like, man, this is crazy. So I created this like 1 hour, message, like, all right, I'd share statistics. Don't be a statistic. Who wants to be successful? What do you want to accomplish? And then at the end, I would say, all right, if you're ready to make a change in your life and you want to be successful, stand up. Everybody would stand up. They'd all clap. I'd give them a certificate and I'd leave.
Do you remember why, you decided to do it? Because a lot of people have a feeling that they want to do it.
Yeah.
And here, do you remember how you got there?
I remember, so the first time I ever spoke in a school, it wasn't by me pursuing it, really. It was, I had gotten my drunk driving accident, and I had already became a Christian and my life was changing, but I had to kind of go through the repercussions. And they made me sit in a Mothers Against Drunk Driving class.
Okay.
And I heard the lady share her story about how her son got killed by a drunk driver.
Wow.
And so at this time, I'm not drinking anymore. My life is changing. And I'm like, I was really compelled by her telling her story. And I went up to her after the session. And I said, well, I have a story too. And I shared it with her. And she said, how would you like to come share your story at Kennedy High School?
Oh, wow.
So my first school was speaking at Kennedy in Taylor.
Wow.
And so it was like I was going back to where we were from, even though we didn't go to Kennedy, we went to Truman.
Yeah.
And I saw the impact that my story made about peer pressure and making bad decisions and encouraging kids to make the right ones.
And you just knew.
And I just knew. So she had me go in a few schools, but then after that, I'm like, I feel like I have a message that young people need to hear.
Yeah.
And so I started calling schools. Like I spoke at Dearborn High School, Wayne Memorial High School, and I just went down this journey of speaking. And then I don't know, I've just always had this draw to Detroit and just to young African Americans, right? Like I have this heart and this compassion where I feel like I really want to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember there was a teacher at Mumford who was actually one of my clients, and she was like, how would you like to come speak in my class? And so she would have me come and speak to the 9th grade class.
Wow.
And share my story.
Okay.
And after that, then I went and spoke at a couple other schools, but I was at Northwestern High School, which is one of the worst schools in Detroit, where after I left that day, hearing all of these stories of these kids, I cried in the parking lot.
I remember that. Yeah.
I was like, I said, God, I don't want to just go in and be a motivational speaker. I said, what am I really accomplishing by going in and doing this rah-rah message? And yes, these kids want to be successful. Yes, they want to be champions. But when I leave, they're going right back to the same circumstances, the same situation, the same homes. And I said, in that parking lot, I said, God, either give me a program or help me create a program that can bring lasting change. Because I'm not going to just do this one-off assembly thing anymore. I'm not wasting my time, but I'm like, what good is this? And why am I really doing this? Because if I'm doing it to really have change happen, I don't see that happening.
And you did something that's so powerful, Justin. And we talk about character education. Yep. You allowed yourself to cry, right? I did. Because people will try to hold back.
Yep.
And you can be, this is Justin. You could be part of the problem or the solution. And you did something and you put it out to God and said, I need help. And you didn't call me at that point, but there was a couple people that is part of.
And I want to talk about how that happened too. So right after that, this is so weird. Okay. So my cousin, he's a Christian as well. And he's got like the spiritual gift where he if you know the spiritual terms, it's called prophetic, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't know, you might think it's like, being a fortune teller or something like that, right? Yeah. But he called me up one day and he said, Justin, I see this man coming into your life with gray hair named Chuck.
Really?
I said, really?
And I know what Chuck you're talking about.
Yeah. And so that was like, okay. And like a week later, I met Chuck.
Yeah. Chuck Dodge, right?
Chuck Dodge with gray hair.
Yeah.
Super crazy.
Yeah.
But that's when you know it's God.
Right.
And so Chuck was a speaker, and Chuck, did a lot of stuff or whatever. And actually, Chuck came to speak with me at a couple of schools because he's got a really cool message as well. But then Chuck introduced me to Chris.
Okay.
Which was interesting on how that happened.
Right.
Because I would have never met Chris if it wasn't for Chuck.
Right.
And I would have never been looking for Chuck if it wasn't for my cousin Greg, who said, Justin, God is going to send a mentor into your life named Chuck with gray hair. That's like to the T, like that accurate.
And I met Chuck, but through a different situation too, which is crazy.
Yeah.
No, and Chuck Dodge.
It's Mr. Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. Yeah. And I met him. I was speaking at this Jobs Unity event.
Yeah.
And he came to the event for me speaking, and there was only probably maybe 10 people.
Yeah.
That was there. And I was talking about finding purpose and how to find employment, and he was there.
Yep.
That's literally Yep. We got to reach out to him.
We do. He's great. Yeah. And so he introduced me to Chris, which Chris was already working in schools because he was a teacher.
Yeah.
And when I shared my vision with him, he's like, yeah, I already have work that I'm doing. But then he helped me then, understand that the Champions Challenge could be more.
Yeah.
But then we realized, well, we need a team to do this. I don't even how did you and I then connect on this? Because I don't remember.
I remember.
All right, tell the story.
I remember you called me.
I did call you, okay.
And this is the other key factor who we just saw outside.
Yeah.
Sherry.
Okay.
Richards. And you said, you're a good marketing person.
Yep.
Good at sales.
Yeah.
And at this time, I opened my first school already. I think I was at Specs Howard as an internship coordinator.
Okay.
Or it might have been, that was right before.
Okay.
I was at Specs Howard. Yeah. And so you said, reach out to this number. And I still remember seeing a 440 number, like
Sherry,
area code.
Yeah.
Which is Sherry Richards, right? And
I
was like, that number. And she called me, and it was in December of 2013.
Wow.
And the reason I remember this, because I was at Siham's house.
Yeah.
I had a Skype meeting.
Yeah. We did Skype.
There was Skype in 2013.
Yep.
We did a Skype meeting with Chris.
Yep. I remember.
You. Sherry. And myself.
Yep.
And I remember that I was like, I'm in.
We were sharing the vision with you and what we wanted to do.
And it said, we got to work with the schools. And you know me, I'm a educator. Love that. That's my purpose. I've been in sales since ever before.
Yeah.
But then I learned later on how you can have being in education and again, what I'll talk about life on purpose is having it as
together
and combine it together. But so we had that meeting, and I was at Siham's, and then My dad passed away in January 11th, 2014.
Wow, that's almost been 10 years too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's been 10 years from that. And I remember, that was my dark time, was after he passed away. Anyone that knows me know I went through.
Yeah.
It's one thing you can't describe as losing a parent.
Right, exactly.
And even though everyone knows my mom.
Right.
But my dad was that person that was always behind me, like, you can never do anything wrong.
Yeah.
You be out and you be bold. You go do whatever you want to do. He was, my mom's like, oh, just to keep apologizing to my mom's the sweetest one. My dad's like, you go out there and you
take over the world.
You be bold. And as being an Arab girl, not usually people, not many females get that from their dad. Right. To be like, you do whatever you want to do.
Right.
So he passed away, and I remember telling Sherry and you, like, guys, I'm going to have to pause for a minute.
Remember that. Yep.
I'm going to have to pause.
I was working with Jeff at that time, because you had even come up to the office up there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, with Jeff Glover.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember that too.
Yep.
And then I think from there, I went through, it's still hard. I don't think I've really went back to that time.
Yep.
I just remember I started in Specs Howard September of 2014.
Yep.
So when did we start?
I think it was that summer of 2014 when we started working with Life on Purpose.
Yes.
Yep, because that's how we then got into Cody.
Yeah. Well, no, Life Remodeled.
Life on Purpose. Your Life on Purpose.
Yeah.
Life Remodeled. Yes.
Yeah.
So, so for those of you guys that are listening and you're local here in Michigan, Life Remodeled is a program that is a huge program now, where they first started going into like neighborhoods and like changing a home, like remodeling a home for a family. And then they started going in and changing entire blocks, right? And so in 2014, in August, they were going in to change an entire neighborhood around Cody High School in Detroit, which is one of the worst high schools in Detroit. And we connected through Life Remodeled through the church that I was going to, called DWO, Detroit World Outreach, through Pastor Art. And Pastor Art is like, I could connect you with Life Remodeled, because we were like, well, okay, that's awesome.
Wasn't it their first year ever doing?
It was their first year ever doing a school.
Right.
So we're like, listen, you can go in and change the neighborhood. We want to go in and change the students. So when you came together, Sherry, myself, Maxine, Chris, we took a Champions Challenge that I was doing for 1 hour, and we turned it into a 90-day curriculum.
Yeah.
It's a program, right? Where we take kids through character education, leadership, and success, and teach them principles of what it means to be successful.
And back then, when you would talk about soft skills development, professional development, they're like,
we were ahead of the game.
Yeah, it's like, no, we're not doing that. That's a luxury. We got to focus on grades.
Yeah.
But you said something so powerful, and I still talk about this, is if you're going to fix the whole neighborhood and fix all of that, why wouldn't you work with the core?
Right, yeah.
And that's what we did.
And unfortunately, you go back by those neighborhoods, and like if you go in and you mow a bunch of houses that have overgrown grass, and you board up, sooner or later the grass is overgrown again. The houses are not boarded up anymore, and the neighborhood is still blighted.
Right.
Why? Because the people in the community, if they're not changing, if the mindset's not changing, then
it's going to be stagnant.
It's going to be stagnant. So we went in and worked with our first group that summer with a group of kids.
Great group. Our first group. Yeah.
We didn't know what we were walking into, and it was life-changing.
We had no idea. Like, we didn't have we had the Champion Challenge just broken out.
We just had a 90-day curriculum. That was it. No experience.
And still to this day is, again, where if you believe or you don't believe that things happen for a reason, or you meet people for a reason, that was my very much belief, because the fact how we walked in there with Maxine, Sherry, you and me, and just knew how to read the room and knew what these students needed. I mean, they were so connected to us.
Right.
And they were after school. They didn't get incentives. We didn't bring food for them. We didn't bring...
They came to St. John Bosco's. Or was that
Bosco.
Called? Bosco, Yep. St. John Bosco's, I think it was called. And they'd come after school.
Yeah.
They weren't getting paid to do it. They weren't getting grades to do it.
Nothing.
But they came to be a part of it because they wanted to be a part of the solution in their neighborhood.
And that was it. And that was one of the things we do with the Champions Challenge is they have to create a project, a solution to a problem in their school or community. And we couldn't get to that part of it.
Right.
Because once we sat with these students and felt and this was before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 2014. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we started talking to them and hearing that they have visions or they have this, but they just don't have they don't have a toolbox.
Right.
So that's when we just started saying we got to sit with them.
Yep. And it was our first go around, so we didn't really know what we needed. Or we just knew that we were there. You know, we wanted to help and be a difference maker in the community. And even though we didn't have a project per se that they created, they all did participate in the Life Remodeled for that 1 week. And all of those kids showed up every day.
I forgot about that.
They all showed up every day and helped clean the neighborhood, work on different projects. And remember, we grouped them with other people because there was all these different teams working on stuff. And I think there was 10,000 volunteers over that week.
You're right.
That came together to help with that project.
Well, and also we hired Regine.
Yeah.
Too, to be a coach for the Summer Champions Challenge program too.
Yep. So we still stay in touch with a lot of the kids, and
even at Osborne we do.
And even at Osborne. So the next year we did Osborne.
Yeah.
And this year we were a little bit more prepared. This was 2015, where we're like, okay, let's actually look at stats. And this wasn't in the summer. This was in the school year.
Right.
Yeah. So we actually went into
the fourth hour or something.
We went into the classroom, and so we brought lunch. Right, we were given a group of kids. We brought in lunch every week.
Food makes everyone happy.
It's the way to the heart. And what we did is we broke off into groups because we realized that if we have these groups and we present the lesson, so I teach the lesson. And the word champions, we basically created an acronym around it. So each letter in the word champions is a lesson, and so it's creating higher achievement, motivation, purpose, innovation, and ownership necessary for success. And so each week we would break down the letter, give a lesson, and then break into groups, discuss the lesson, but then work with the kids on coming up with the project. And I think things really went to the next level with Osborne because we knew what we were doing, but there were some really special things that happened in that group, right? Because you had some girls.
Oh yeah. People, there's different parts, but Osborne is, what I forgot. How long did it take us from the freeway even to get to the school? There's no main freeway
none.
for them. Like if you talk about the west side of Detroit for them, that's like going to another state. That's how secluded it was. And our group, it was different from Cody to Osborne.
Yeah, it was.
Osborne had a lot more issues.
Well, I think they said that the Osborne school and that zip code is one of the worst, not just in Detroit, but the whole country.
It's one of the most violent zip codes.
Yeah, violent zip codes in schools in the country.
And we had 30 kids.
Yeah.
And I think that was really good, again, that we decided to break into groups because we were able to focus and work with them. More. And I still remember that day, and you remember this day. Is that day that all of our students were like, what's going on? What are you doing? And everyone was just like head down.
They were quiet and sad.
And we just kept saying, what's going on? And then finally we found out that
somebody got killed in the neighborhood.
And it wasn't someone. I think it was like
one of their main people.
Like a really good person. Positive person, and that was just like a
heartbreaking. So we had to walk with them through that, and by doing that, I think that's where things really changed because they really saw that we cared. Because a lot of people go into schools with an agenda or trying to just accomplish something, but they really don't care. But our program has always been about the relationship and working with these kids, right? Like helping them even outside of school, right? You guys have helped some of the girls get an apartment or a computer or whatever.
Sherry got a sewing machine.
Finding different ways to make connections with these kids. And so we take these kids through this program, and then at the end for the S, which is success, we celebrate them.
We celebrate big.
We took the group from Cody out on the Detroit Princess boat. Off the Detroit River. Picked them up in.
I don't like the water.
We picked them up.
Party bus. Yeah.
Took them on the river.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
It was beyond amazing because they overcame so many fears. And not one of them has ever experienced that before.
Right. Then we did the next group we took to the go-kart track out in Novi.
And you beat everyone.
I did beat everyone. Listen, if there's a competition and I have the opportunity to win, I don't care if you're 15, I'm winning.
No, you are. Me too.
And so that was fun. And so, but then because Life Remodeled didn't move on to another school, they really moved on to kind of a different project. We didn't move on. And we kind of just all went our separate ways because I had just gotten into real estate. So my real estate career took off. You got into doing some stuff. Sherry, like we all got busy. We still stayed connected, but we were all doing our own thing. And I think we always knew that we needed to come back together, and we did a few years ago.
We did, and we just knew, and we had to go through whatever we needed to go through to get to this next level. And what I think for us that's really, really important is we always stay relevant.
Yep.
Because all of us, we practice what we preach.
Yeah.
We literally go through growth.
Yep.
And growth is not easy.
No.
It's the hardest thing
100%
to grow.
Yeah.
And you can stay right here or you grow, but all of us, we're continually learning and growing.
And building experience that's kind of led us back together. So 2 years, I reached out to you and I'm like, Doris, it's time for us to get back together. And you're like, yes, I'm feeling the same thing. But what I didn't know was all along you were continuing down the path now and had started Life on Purpose. How did Life on Purpose come about, and what were you doing kind of up until we got back together?
Well, and that's funny you bring that up too. So, I've opened up now 5 post-secondary schools. I've helped facilitate the opening from cybersecurity, working at Specs Howard, learning a little bit more, and people may not understand, but they're the business side of things.
There is
too.
a business
there
side
is a business side to it. There's a back end to every single thing. And so the last school I helped open up, I kind of felt like this is the last time I'm going to do it for someone else.
Right.
This is the last time. Like I am really smart, intuitive. I care so much.
Right.
I'm good at this.
Right. Yeah.
And so I don't want to put it from here. So there was a reason I went online, created an LLC called Life on Purpose with Doris.
Yep.
And I just started doing readings, $75 readings, and doing resumes and helping people out that are feeling stuck, don't know what type of job they want to do.
Right.
Because that's the other part. I've been a career advisor.
Yep.
And so it went from, okay, here we go, to a person saying, do you have a 6-week program? I'm like, sure do. And, going into my curriculum and going into it.
Yeah.
And so it was focused on finding employment. And two, one of my frustrations was no matter how many times I would place someone in a job,
right,
if they had a barrier, fear, or circumstance, which I learned through that positive zone, right?
Yep.
They would not move forward. They'd be right back in my chair.
Yeah.
So I always got in trouble for always working with the students at their core. Right. But I had such a high success rate.
Right.
Where students weren't quitting their jobs after so long. Or if they did, they would get right back into employment.
Yeah.
And so I went through a little bit of a thing, and that's when it comes to you, when we connected again.
Yep.
I was going to go do real estate.
Yeah.
I said, I'm done with it. I'm doing these one-on-ones. I got to find work.
Right.
And I worked for a real estate company, and I did my real estate class, but it just kept saying, you can't do that. You've put in 20 years of information and proprietary information. Do not throw this away.
Right.
So I just started consulting then, helping other schools.
Yep.
And then with Life on Purpose, I went to an event in Detroit at Job Corps.
Yep.
And there was Michigan Rehabilitation Services were there.
Yep.
So it's an agency for the state of Michigan that works with individuals with disability to find employment.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's go. We were supposed to start March 12th of 2020.
Yep. COVID hit.
Had the classroom ready, everything. I was like, that's all right, you know. So April comes, May comes, June comes, and I'm like, oh man, this is not good. And somebody said something about Grow Detroit's Young Talent. They said it's a after school program.
Right.
And I said, okay. And then I called you.
Yep.
And I called Sherry.
Yeah.
And I said, is the gang going to be back again? And you both said, let me know.
Yeah.
If it happens. Like, really.
Yep.
And I remember when I submitted it.
Yeah.
It was in December.
Right.
It was due. I started at 8 a.m. It was due at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And it was about 46 pages. It's an RFP, request for proposal.
That's a big one.
And I started scanning. Yep. I was by myself at the office. It wouldn't scan.
I remember you were saying that.
It wouldn't scan.
Yep.
And it wouldn't work. It kept doing it. All of a sudden, it went from like 9 a.m. to like 4:30 p.m. It's 4:45, 4:48.
Yep.
And whatever I did, I grabbed whatever files I could. I threw it in an email. I sent it out.
Yeah.
And then I called you guys and I was like, it's not going to happen. And I called my mom. I was like, it's not going to happen. There's no way.
Yep.
And I get an email. It was like, I don't know what you did, Doris.
But it happened.
But I got, for whatever reason I grabbed every single thing.
Yep.
It was just out of order. And it doesn't say it's there. So we did the Grow Detroit's Young Talent and brought the Champions Challenge back.
I did that for 2 years. And then I've always just felt, like I was supposed to go back to Taylor. Right? You and I talked about that.
Yeah.
And I even had, matter of fact, I think it was my same cousin, Greg, who told me about Chuck with the gray hair, said, God's getting ready to take you back to your high school.
You told me that.
And he's going to open the door for you, right? Mm-hmm. And so, to make a long story short, is we're now in our high school, Taylor High School.
It's always going to be Taylor Truman to me.
They changed it because there's no longer Kennedy.
And and that was the thing that I don't know they know, is that we never closed down the positive zone.
Never.
Sherry still
we always kept it open.
Because we just kept saying it needs to stay
open. And we knew
open.
it would. Like, I always knew it was just when, right?
Right.
So now we're actually in our high school, the same halls that we walked, working with 40 kids who are hand-selected to work with us. And these are kids who, some of them have straight A's but have challenges at home. Some of them are failing. Some of them are struggling.
A lot are failing.
A lot are struggling.
Yeah.
And Miss Scope told us, so Miss Scope was our class advisor, and now she's the principal. So we've got a long history with her.
Yeah.
And she told us when we were going in, like, COVID really messed up a lot of kids from a mental standpoint,
absolutely,
from a mindset standpoint. And we just see today, character education is needed more than ever.
It's necessary.
It's so necessary.
It's necessary.
And so now we've been in the school, right? Now we have 6 mentors. We got multiple junior mentors, and we break off into these groups, and we're seeing these kids change.
Yeah.
We're seeing them show up. We're seeing them want to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem, because you can be a part of the solution or you can be a part of the problem, right? And so it's exciting, right? We're seeing some great things happening right now.
I went through, my own thing with that. I had a couple girls, again, that were really questioning me. And I went to this point and I was like, before I would grab them and say, come back. And it's not saying I won't, because I feel like we're gonna be in Taylor for a minute. So it may not be the time right now.
Right, exactly.
But that
these
later
are freshmen.
They're freshmen.
Yeah, and we're working with freshmen.
But they are, each one of them has something going on. Their grades are failing. Teachers are...
Behavior issues, home issues. One girl in my group got caught with multiple, fifths of alcohol in her bag. Yeah. These kids are going through some things.
They're going through it. Yeah. And it's crazy because I don't know if you feel the same way. It's like being back at our high school. It's like your own memories start coming through of that. And then it's like, can we relate to the hallways like how we were?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it was tough when we were there.
Yeah.
Taylor's always been known as a tough school district. Great kids, not so great kids, very diverse.
Well, and it's one high school now.
Yeah, that's one high school now.
Before we used to have three different kind of areas of like parameters or neighborhoods where everyone's now just in one.
And now it's one. And so we'll be finishing up the Champions Challenge in June, last week of school, and then we're going to do, a success day for them. And
they want to go to Cedar Point, by the way.
Do they really? Hey, I'm sure we can make that happen.
I'm serious. Yeah. That's what they said.
And we will make that happen one way or another.
And I said, as long as they do their project.
Got to do their project.
This is the time. We figured it out how we can focus on both.
Yep.
And their project, I don't want to say it now because it's going to be awesome when we reveal it. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we'll reveal it, and you got to follow us on social media.
Yeah.
And so, no, this is good. And, for those that are listening right now, if you're thinking, how can you, make a difference in your community or how you can give back, there's different ways that you can do it. And if you're listening locally and you want to learn how you can maybe connect, reach out to us.
Yeah.
Because we have other schools that are already saying, hey, we need you. We want you to come work with us. And we know that in order to grow, we're going to need mentors and people who want to work with kids and want to make a difference.
We need you. If it's literally, if this is your sign right here, if you've been feeling it, I want to get back, I want to do something, reach out to us because we need people that can empathize. And I don't say it in that way, but we can't be hard on them. It's not that we're not, but we need people that have been through life themselves and share with someone else and say, I know how you feel.
And be there to make a difference. That's what I love about our group. We're such a diverse group. We have, Black, white, Dominican, Arabic, all mixture of, and we all have backgrounds of different experiences that we've gone through that can relate to these kids.
And we're not afraid to share our experiences.
No, not at all.
Some people are afraid to, but we're not afraid to share.
We're bold. Yeah. We bring it.
We're bold.
Yeah. So how can somebody get a hold of you, Doris, if they want to learn more about Life on Purpose, or they want to reach out to you? How can they get a hold of you, whether it's on social media? We'll post your information here.
Yeah. So I will say, so for right now, if you would, we have adult classes, so 18 and up.
Yep.
If you're looking for employment right now, please reach out. We have a training program. So again, purpose is not your job. Right. Purpose is showing up, understanding who you are, appreciating who you are, and get rid of all that external things that you're told you are. Usually purpose is the thing you used to get in trouble for the most is, why do you talk so much? Why do you got to do that so much?
That was me.
Yeah. But that was part of that, is taking that negative to a positive, right? And learning how to use that versus telling someone to shut it off.
Right.
And so if you are looking for employment or entrepreneurship, you can go to www.lifeonpurposedetroit.com or feel free to add me on Facebook, LinkedIn, any of that too. But reach out to us, and then that's what we do. We do job placement, and now we're doing entrepreneurship.
And through the Champions Challenge and through the Positive Zone, we work in the schools. And if you even have a school, your kid goes to a school, you go to a school, and there needs to be some change, we can come help. Reach out to us, definitely. I'm excited. So our journey has been 26 years. Yeah. I'm excited to see what the next 26 years look like.
What is it going to look like?
That will be 66.
Stop it, Justin.
26 years will be 66.
Now I can never hide my age.
Gray hair, all of that.
It's already there.
I know mine is too, but I got blonde hair, so you can't really see it.
So the next time you see us, we'll be 66 years old.
That's funny. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. You're doing a lot of amazing things, and it's awesome being able to do this journey with you and change lives together.
I'm excited.
Guys, appreciate you tuning in to another episode here. Again, if you have enjoyed this show, do me a favor, go ahead and hit the subscribe button here on YouTube or on your favorite podcast platform. Definitely reach out to Doris, Life on Purpose, Detroit.com. You can also find her on social media. I want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at Next Door Lending. Next Door Lending is not just a sponsor of our show. This is my personal lender. This is who I share my friends and family with to get a mortgage. This is who I share my clients with to get a mortgage. These guys are the real deal. They're in over 23 states. They have over 600 5-star reviews. They have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. And guys, they are absolutely incredible. If you're looking to buy a home, call my friends over at Next Door Lending. If you're looking to refinance your home, call my friends over at Next Door Lending. And if you're a real estate agent and you need a great lender, call my friends over at Next Door Lending at 888-885-3667 or visit their website at nextdoorlending.com. I always like to leave you with two things, as you know. Number one, it's not how you start. What matters is how you finish. And number two, with God, all things are possible. God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.